Good Friday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here, and let's wake up those football gods. It seems like the Cowboys football gods have been smiling down on us. And I have enjoyed this season so much after the disaster that last year was of Mike McCarthy's first year and Mike Nolan, the Mike and Mike show. It was just ugly. We were just literally happy to have the season end because it was bad. But you know, the funny thing is if you listen to the shows last year versus this year and not knowing what the records were, it didn't change any. The same stuff that they said about the Cowboys last year is the same kind of things they say this year. The Cowboys have to be the least respected team in the NFL. I mean, we're talking about a team that won 12 games, and yet you would think that they've got no chance in hell this weekend. Oh, they're going to be one and done. Oh, they're inconsistent. Oh, they just stink. Here's what's kind of crazy, and not even to talk about how they talk about our quarterback. Everybody out there, I hear, well, Justin Hubert is better than Dak Prescott. You do know the Cowboys beat him, right? Oh, well, he doesn't have the playoff wins. There's no marquee win. You do know we beat Russell Wilson in the playoffs, right? Russell Wilson. Because if it's all about just the quarterback, well, we actually beat them in the playoffs. And he's gone toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers with 304 yards and 3 TDs. In fact, here's a crazy statistic. And I know that I know.
Any way we want. We often can take numbers and we'll fit them into the narrative that we want to try and paint. And I probably am guilty of this. Can take numbers and skew them any way we want. We often can take numbers and we'll fit them into the narrative that we want to try and paint.
So here's one of those crazy statistics, okay? I'm not trying to manipulate anybody. I'm just trying to put actually facts out there. And if you can find somebody else that belongs on this list, by all means, let me know. Because here's the list. Since 2016, which is Dak Prescott's rookie year, I know some of the hosts out there say, oh, I like to throw out the rookie season. Okay. Since 2016, there are 3 quarterbacks, that's the quarterback, the guy we all deem as the god, that have 1,500 yards passing. That's 1,500 yards or more passing. 100 TD passes, okay, and less than 40 TDs. The list: Aaron frickin' Rodgers, Drew Brees, and wait for it, Dak Prescott. Does that surprise you? Now, truth in advertising, unlike Dan Orlovsky, I'm going to go ahead and put some things in there that will also, to be fair. Pat Mahomes hasn't been there as long as Dak. So Pat Mahomes would be in that category if he'd been in since 2016. Although he does have a lot of interceptions. Wait a minute. How many interceptions does he have? Wait a minute. Let me check on here. Hold on. I'm just double checking. Let's see, in his career, because I don't want to put out false information. So Pat Mahomes in his career, passing TDs. Let's see, that's the season. Okay. So he's got 151 TDs and 37 interceptions. And 18,000. So let me add to that list. See, this is where, I saw somebody posted that. That might have been from last year before he got over 15,000 yards. So let's add one more to the list. There's only 4 quarterbacks that have done that. So you got Pat Mahomes, Drew Brees, Dak Prescott, and Aaron Rodgers. That's pretty amazing. So to be on that list with those guys. But here's another one for you that's kind of crazy. This I'm going to call this one the power of 10, because the Cowboys have Dak Prescott over 4,000 yards. It's actually 4,449 yards. We have Zeke Elliott over 1,000 yards, 1,002 yards rushing for a guy who's over the hill and sucks. We have CeeDee Lamb over 1,000 yards with 1,102 yards. We have Micah Parsons with over 10 sacks, actually being 13, and Diggs having over 10 interceptions with 11. You had all of that happening. You had the number one rated offense in scoring as well as points. You had the number one taking the football away. You had the number 7 scoring defense. You have all of those things. Now, by the way, the Dallas Cowboys are the first team to ever have a 4,000-yard passer, 1,000-yard rusher, 1,000-yard receiver, a 10-plus sacker, and a 10-plus interceptor. Now, truth in advertising, nobody else could have that in the last 30 years because nobody's had 10 interceptions in like the last 30 years. So, again, trying to be truth in advertising. But when you put it on the scale of saying the Cowboys have done things this year that nobody else has done, you got to look at it and say they're a pretty good team. Yet going into this game, they're still completely disrespected by everybody out there. Oh, well, the 49ers are going to come to down and beat them. Jimmy Garoppolo and Deebo Samuels. And, of course, George, Kittle. George Kittle. They're just going to take it to the Cowboys. Like the Cowboys haven't done anything. That's okay. My quarterback, Dak Prescott. I think Dak feeds off of the disrespect. There's nobody out there that's been more disrespected than him from high school on. He was never thought to be the guy. Never. The only way he ever got playing time was because, there's nobody else. The guy we thought was going to be the guy, he's hurt. Next up, Dak, high school, college, pros. Cowboys didn't draft him saying, this is going to be the guy that's going to be our franchise quarterback. They didn't do that. They didn't. He has been maligned his whole time here. Every show has a point on should he get paid, shouldn't he get paid, why he's a dink and dunker. They've come up with terms and everything else. He just brushes that shit right off and keeps on doing what he does. He said about the 49ers being a bad matchup for the Cowboys. We don't care what people believe about us outside these walls. Whether they think it's good or not, we're excited for the matchup. It's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be war. And we're exactly up for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Let's get ready to rumble. So now we are 2 days away, just 2 days away from this game. And it'll be a battle of matchups. The big question is, who will be the bigger matchup? Micah Parsons or Deebo Samuels? Who will have the biggest impact? I'm actually going to play a clip from First Take and see what they think about it. Let's go to the tape here as we get ready to get out of here.
Who do you believe is going to have the bigger impact in this game?
Oh, it's Micah Parsons. I don't think the Cowboys can win if Micah doesn't have a sensational football game. I just went on about how Kyle is going to at least try to impact and or affect him. But this is a guy that is the runaway defensive rookie of the year, and he was in the conversation, and probably still is, for defensive player of the year. He's so good when it comes to defending the run because of his speed. Right, so you're talking about a 49ers offense that likes to get the ball to the perimeter in their outside zone run game. if you don't get hands on Micah Parsons as an offensive line, and Woody, you know this better than anybody, it ain't going to happen for you as an offense. And then as a pass rusher, he could wreck games. You know, and I try to do a good job when I'm on television of giving people offensive perspectives and what I would do if I was a play caller situations. I have no idea what I would do with Micah Parsons. I've tried to sit here and think about it, and I don't know how I would try to handle him because I think he's that, I don't want to say impossible of a player to try and slow down and stop. And I think that's a big issue. So if Micah Parsons has, you know, kind of a transcendent performance, the Cowboys win this football game. If Micah Parsons is minimized, I think the Cowboys don't have a chance.
So a lot of pressure on him, I see.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, listen, I agree with a lot of points you said, but I'm going to take the other side. I'm going to say Deebo Samuel, because as great as Michael Parsons has been this year, and he's been phenomenal, Deebo Samuel has had a historic NFL season this year. He's the only receiver in history that's had over 1,300 receiving yards and over 300 rushing yards in a season. I mean, that's just phenomenal. This is a guy he's a movable piece. Just like I talked about a little while ago. He's an offensive weapon. Like, Dan, I'm not a big stats guy. I don't get into stats a whole lot. But, I mean, listen, there's a couple things that just jump out to me as far as Deebo Samuel is concerned. This is a guy that's averaging over 10 yards after the catch, meaning he catches the ball and then he gains another 10 yards.
He is a beast.
That, to me, is mentality. You know what I mean? Like, that's where when you talk about Deebo Samuel, you're talking about a guy that's a running back in a wide receiver body. When you're able to do things like that, and then he's third in the league when he's rushing the ball, third in the league in yard per carry when he's lined up as a running back. Yeah. So, like, this is a guy, like, you talk about eyes on Michael Parsons, and there are going to be a lot of eyes on Michael Parsons. There's going to be a lot of eyes from the Dallas defense. Where is Deebo Samuel? We need to find him, just like you alluded to when we were talking about in the last segment. Decoy, like, you can do so many things with Deebo Samuel that's going to unlock other people in that offense.
I think Deebo Samuel is like our era's or our generation's like Roger Craig. You know, Roger Craig back in the day, like he was a guy that did everything. You want him as a pass catcher, great. You want him as a runner, great. It's very Marshall Faulk-ish as well when it comes to like his ability to do both at such a high level. I mentioned it before. I think there's going to be opportunities when Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys, is going to go Micah Parsons. You've got Deebo Samuel. I don't care where he goes. You've got Deebo Samuel. They're obviously going to be in man coverage in those situations, and that's why it's going to be fascinating to watch. I think both of those guys are going to have a tremendous impact on the football game, obviously. But if one of those guys has a more I use that word, transcendent performance, that's the team that's going to win the football game. If Deebo goes for over 150-plus yards all-purpose or 200 all-purpose yards, like the 49ers are going to win. As long as Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have like one of those, why did you or how did you just throw one of those interceptions, the 49ers will win that football game. But Micah Parsons could have one of those games where he has 15 tackles, two tackles for a loss, like he could have a tremendous game and totally wreck the football game.
Yeah, and that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a great game. There's so many players. But I'm going to say that I think that the biggest thing is going to be the pass rush. If the Cowboys can put a relentless pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo, and there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to with Randy Gregory, with DeMarcus Lawrence, now having Neville Gallimore, getting Tristan Hill, Carlos Watkins, and then you sprinkle in some Micah Parsons in there. They should be getting after Jimmy G's ass and popping him, and just laying him out. But, you know, of course, the Cowboys, they're just lucky to actually be in the playoffs because, of course, you know, nobody gives them any respect. Anyway, I've got a lot of work to do. I'm in here rebuilding and redesigning my workshop. I've got lots of orders for you guys that we're working on getting out and things. And so the work doesn't end, but I want to get as much work done today as I can because we're going to be live streaming all the playoff games through the weekend. So we got Saturday, we got Sunday, and we got Monday night. So it's going to be a busy weekend, and I want to make sure that I am ready to just kind of walk away from that stuff. So you know how we roll, guys. I'm Mark Holmes here. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, have fun!